Welcome to a brand new week of Devos at the Log Church, and we are so excited because I don't know about you, but I find myself looking at the times that we're living in and realizing that it is so uncertain, isn't it? I mean, we all knew that times were uncertain before 2020, but now, more than ever before, we look at our lives and we look at the plans that we've made and we look at the things that we want to do, and we realize that there's no guarantee on anything. There's no certainty. So, believe it or not, the Bible actually teaches that certainty often runs contrary to faith. And the Bible also says that without faith, it is impossible to please God. So the way that we please God is by having faith through uncertainty. And so I want to share with you some insights about why you get freaked out about your life and how to change that. Because we do want to change that. We want to be people, we want to be Christians that are confident in our relationship with God enough to know that when plans don't go the way that we expect, that we can completely buckle down and be anchored to our faith above our desire for certainty. So I want to share with you this scripture that gives you an idea. Well, first of all, this idea is simple. Most of the time, we prefer certainty to faith. I don't know any person that would not like a guarantee, right? I mean, think about it. How much money do appliance dealers and do car dealers make on what? On the warranty, on the guarantee. If anything happens, you just bring this back and it'll all be taken care of, right? If something breaks, it doesn't matter. You're going to get a new one. You don't have to worry about this at all. We don't want to exercise faith in different areas of our life, but really, with regard to our experiences with God and with our plans with God, if we're being truthful, we prefer the certainty than having to exercise our faith, than having to believe that even though we don't know the outcome, that God is still in control. There's a passage of scripture written by David in Psalm 20, verse 7, and Pastor Mike had a sermon once that he preached. It was an awesome message called Horses, Chariots, or God. And it was about this very subject, but this is the verse that kind of encapsulates the sermon. He says, this is what David said, some trust in chariots, some trust in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God. Now, this is the part where you're like, okay, David wrote this, right, Pastor Sam? Yeah, according to Bible scholars, that David wrote this, right? So you're like, well, wasn't David like the king of the most powerful army in the world at the time? And wasn't he in charge of a lot of those chariots and those horses and, you know, the military? Like, essentially, this verse deals with the military strategy of the king. Okay, so yes, those things are true. David did have access to those things that might provide other nations certainty. But the reason why I believe that David wrote this song was as a reminder that those things, as great as they are, do not deserve your trust. They don't deserve our trust. In fact, the word for trust here in Hebrew doesn't mean trust meaning like the way that we know trust. Trust here means to meditate on, to ponder in. And I don't know about you, but when things are going really well in my life, like financially, or things are going really well in terms of my career or something that I planned, I have a tendency to ponder on those things. Like I have a tendency to meditate on like, okay, oh man, this is going so great. And in this year, I'm going to have this done. And 5 years from now, this is going to happen. And this is going to happen with our kids. And I meditate and I ponder and I meditate and I ponder. But in reality, David said, no, those things are great. But the only thing that we ought to trust in, the only thing we ought to meditate on and ponder and think about is God. Because He is our only certainty. None of these things, anything can be taken away. And the sooner you get comfortable living in uncertainty, the greater your chances of being able to exercise your faith, because it's faith that pleases God. And it's faith that allows you to continue to maintain your walk with God when the horses and the chariots aren't available to you.